Welcome to our Veritas Combat Arts KENPO Beginners Basics video. We're going to cover some basic dojo etiquette, our basic stances, and all the things that you're going to need to get you from white through to orange belt in our system. So hope you enjoy the video. And the first thing we're going to start with is belt tying. Very important for your yellow belt test, you need to know how to tie your belt. Now, the thing to keep in mind is there is no one way to tie a belt. I'm just going to show you a way. There are other ways to tie your belt, but this is a fast and easy way to do it. You take your belt off, you put the two ends together so that your belt is evenly spaced. You're going to take the loop, you're going to put the loop right underneath your belly button. You're going to take your right side here, and you're going to wrap it around your back. You're going to hold that with your right hand. Now you're going to take your left side and you're going to bring that around and over the right side. So you're holding it here. Part under here, you're just going to slide. If you look, it's underneath the belt, so it looks like there's one belt there. Come to the front. You'll take the right side, go over all of the belts, under, pull it out. Make sure the belt is even, tighten it. Now you're going to take the left side over the right side, through the loop, and snap. And that is how to tie your belt. Okay, next I want to cover some basic dojo rules and etiquette. It's really important. We have traditions in the martial arts, and they're there for a reason. A lot of them have to do with respect to the art. A lot of martial arts have been around for thousands of years, and it's kind of a way to acknowledge the ancestry in the art and about all the great masters that have gone before us. So to perpetuate the art and keep it, the traditions in place, we do them at Veritas Combat Arts Academy. But also there's other practical reasons for the traditions. One of the things is many of the traditions are for safety reasons, and the other traditions instill respect, discipline, and focus, which are primarily one of the benefits that we're trying to get and gain and teach from martial arts. So one of the first traditions that we have at Veritas is before entering the mat, when you walk in, it's very important to take your shoes off. Okay? Unless you have mat shoes and you're training with them. You take your shoes off, you're going to put them in the bin. That way we have to keep a free space here so if parents and other students are walking, they won't trip. Next thing, when you're entering the mat, you're going to bow and step onto the mat. Okay? If you come to class late, class has already begun, proper etiquette is to wait before entering the mat until one of the black belts instructors sees you and bows you in. So if you get to class late, put your shoes in the bin, come to the edge of the mat and stand at attention and just wait. One of the black belts will see you and they'll bow you, you bow in, and then you go in and join class. Okay? Same thing when you're leaving at the end of class. When you're walking off the mat, turn, bow to the mat, and exit. Okay? A couple other things we do is in class, if there's an exercise going on, if two people are working and you need to go to the restroom, never pass in between two people that are doing techniques, because obviously you'd be the meat in the sandwich and get hit. If an instructor is speaking and you need to exit the room to use the restroom or get a drink or whatever, ask permission, may I use the restroom? That just shows proper respect. And then when you are leaving the mat, always exit to the back of the class and walk off that way, so that you're not walking in front of the instructor while he's talking or in between the students while they're trying to learn. Last thing is our greeting. When we meet each other, if you come into the class and you see a higher belt or a black belt instructor or brown belt, you're going to salute them. So basic salute, you're going to put the hand over the fist, right fist, open hand, or you can bow, okay? Either way, you just want to greet them. It's a sign of respect, and they will salute you back, or they should salute you back. And again, these traditions, the last thing we do in class is we do our meditation when we begin and end class. Reason for that is it's not a religious connotation or anything like that. There's a practical reason why we meditate. It's in the beginning of class we meditate to empty our mind. If we're coming from school or work or at home and everything's been crazy and chaotic in our life, and we come to train and to better ourselves and improve ourselves, to get ourselves ready to learn, to empty our cup so that we're able to receive new information, we just want to take a couple of seconds, clear our mind, close our eyes, course meditation. Same thing at the end of class. You put in a good workout, you're working hard for an hour, you're ready to leave, end of class, we do the horse meditation again. That again is to clear your mind, relax your body, get your heart rate, your pulse rate down, your breathing normal, so that when you leave, you're in a relaxed state of mind, you can go home, be with your friends and family, go to sleep, whatever you want to do, and you'll be in a good state of mind physically and mentally. So those are our basic traditions in our dojo etiquette. And again, if you have any questions on how to do any of these, always ask one of the instructors. We're here to help, and we're happy to help. Thanks. One of the things that I wanted to show you next is how to do what we call an unbreakable fist. 99% of the people that make a fist like this, and they place their thumb over their foreknuckle. Most people punch like that. One of the problems with this, though, is it tends to result in bending of the wrist if you're not conditioned, and a bent wrist can result in a broken wrist or a sprained wrist. The other problem is people punch improperly, so when they're striking a target, they punch with their ring and pinky finger first, and it results in a break to the two metacarpals here, which we call a boxer's break. You see that a lot. So one of the ways in KENPO that we recommend punching that will fix that problem is by changing the placement of the thumb. So most people will punch like that. In KENPO, what we do is we bring our thumb up and we lock it on top of the fist like this. Okay? That does two things. If you notice, in a normal fist like this, the thumb, when you come up from the wrist to the thumb, the bone is angled to the left. Okay? If you punch with the KENPO unbreakable fist method, it's a straight bone alignment here in the joint, which makes the joint stronger. You can experiment with this. Make a fist like this. Try to hold it straight and have a partner try to bend it. Then lock it up here and try to have a partner bend it. And I promise you, it's going to be harder to bend the wrist this way. So it's going to keep your injuries down and make it your punches and your strikes a lot harder. Another thing that we do in KENPO is we make sure that when we're striking with the top two knuckles, okay? Rather than the last two, which end up with what we call that boxer's break, these top two knuckles here, the two big, thick knuckles, that's what we want to strike with, okay? That's going to, again, keep your injuries down, but more importantly, it's going to result in a larger energy displacement and more power on your punch. And the way that works anatomically is, if you ever popped a balloon, you pop a balloon with a pinpoint, but if you just smack the balloon, it won't pop. That's because if you smack the balloon, you're displacing the energy over a wide surface area. The pinpoint puts the energy into one little spot, which ends up resulting in the balloon breaking. It's the same principle with striking, punching. If you punch with the top two knuckles and you pinpoint the impact, the energy is going to be displaced into a smaller area, and it's going to hurt a lot more and cause a lot more damage. In a street self-defense scenario where you may only get one or two strikes, that makes all the difference. Okay, we're not necessarily talking about a boxing match here. We were training in KENPO for self-defense for the street. So you may only get one shot. You want that shot to count. So by punching with these two knuckles, you're going to pinpoint the energy into a smaller area and cause a lot more damage rather than displacing it over a wide area by punching with all four knuckles, or worse, punching with the bottom two knuckles, ending up injuring your hand. A bent wrist or broken knuckles You're not going to be able to use that weapon anymore, and you've just given the attacker an advantage. So those are the points of what we call the unbreakable fist in KENPO, and we highly recommend that you punch this way. It's going to keep your injuries down, it's going to make your strikes a lot more powerful, and another added benefit too is it gives you double weapon here because you've got the punch, but you also have a built-in ridge here as well. So you can strike with both sides of the weapon. Good for hammer fist. So again, it's a multi-purpose weapon, and try it out. When you first start punching like this, it's probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. I know it did for me, but the more and more I did it and the more I practiced, it helped a lot. It kept my injuries down. It really did completely eliminate me bending my wrist when I punched, and I know it can help you too, so give it a try. Thanks. This next segment of our video is how to do the proper salute. We teach two styles of KENPO at Veritas Combat Arts Academy. We teach Chinese KENPO and we teach American KENPO. Right now I'm going to show you the American KENPO salute. This is the traditional salute, and this is the way we do it here at Veritas. We open up and close every class using this salute. We start all of our katas, our forms, with this salute, and as part of the tradition of the art. Every move in the salute has a history behind it. We outline all that in the curriculum manuals that we sell. So if you want to read about the history and what each move, it has to do with Chinese history, martial arts history, and it's very enlightening, and it's also part of your black belt test, so it's good to know that. The other thing is every move in the American KENPO salute is also a self-defense maneuver. So I will break that down for you in this video. Okay, the first part of our salute, we start at attention stance. Okay. Move one, we're going to come up with a raised fist, horizontal fist, and a back knuckle. Okay? So back elbow, horizontal fist. That's position one. Okay? Position two, we're going to take our right leg and we're going to do a front crossover twist stance as we shoot our right elbow back. We put our left open hand over our right fist. That's position two. So again, position one, position two. Okay, from here, position three, we're going to thrust our left leg forward into a left cat stance as we bring both hands out. Okay, so again, position one, position two, position three, position four. We're going to put our hands back to back, and as we roll into an attention stance, we're going to roll our hands up, double elbows. Again, position one, two, three, four, five. Okay, the next position, our left leg is going to step out. We're going to put our open triangle position here. Also look for the good. So again, position one, two, three, four, five, six. Next position, we're going to come down to the open hand over the fist again, or you can do it this way if you prefer. Again, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, prayer position. Position 8, and then we close. Again, do the whole salute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, close. I'll do it from the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close. This side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, close. And very important from the side, when we step off on the last section into this look for the good position, what we're doing is we're actually covering 3 depth zones, okay? So the first move is out here far away, the second move is midway, and the third move is close to the chest. So it's covering 3 depth zones. Think of a Venetian blind, okay? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's the American KENPO salute. I'd like to demonstrate how we do our salute for our Chinese KENPO. It's a little bit different than the American KENPO salute. We'll begin in an attention stance. We're going to put our right hand over our heart. We're going to put our left fist underneath the heart. With our right foot, we're going to step forward into a right forward bow as we bring our hands out into a punch and claw position. Now we're going to step back into a right cat stance as we roll and reverse the hands. Right from here, we're going to come to an attention stance as we roll into a back knuckle with the left hand coming into an elbow and claw across the face, bow. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do it from the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back knuckle, claw, bow. Again. And that's our Chinese KENPO salute. Next I'd like to talk about is our stances. Stances are extremely important in KENPO. They're the way we get our stability, our balance, the way we drive our power. Everything in KENPO is from the feet up. So you can have fast hands and you could be doing all kinds of fancy maneuvers with your upper body. But if you don't have good stances and good footwork, you're not going to be able to deliver those weapons the proper way. So we have several stances that we require as part of our basics, our beginners program. And the first stance we're going to learn is the horse stance. We have 2 horse stances, the horse meditation stance and the horse training stance. But I'm going to show you a quick way to get into a horse stance when you're first learning how to do it. You're going to stand at attention. You're going to kick your heels out. You're going to kick your toes out. You're going to kick your heels out again. And then you're going to bend your knees. Okay? Now, it looks like my legs are bowed. My toes are pointed straight, almost in. Okay? The name horse stance comes from horseback riding stance. It looks like we're riding a horse. Okay? Now, the difference between the horse meditation stance and the training stance is where we place our hands. For horse meditation stance, our hands are going to be in the dragon tiger position. You can do it this way or open hand, your preference. Okay, this is horse meditation, so attention. Step into a horse meditation stance, drive our left foot off, horse meditation. Horse training stance, we're going to shoot both elbows back. Boom, horse training. Okay. Now, different functions. The horse meditation stance we do at the beginning and end of class, again to clear our mind, get ready to focus, get ready to learn, empty our cup so we can learn new information, or at the end of class to empty our mind so we can go home in a relaxed state of mind. Okay, that's the horse meditation. A couple of pointers here. We don't want our elbows out like this. Our elbows should be angled downward. Okay, looking straight ahead, closing the eyes, back to stance. We always step left foot off when we open. Okay? Horse training stance, we're going to step off, shoot the arms back. The purpose of a horse training stance is so that we can isolate our hand movements, so we can do punches and strikes and our basics when we're warming up. One other thing anatomically I want to make you aware, and that is the foot position. Again, we don't have our feet splayed like this, because if our feet are out like this, if someone would come and scrape and stomp us and our foot was out, they'd hit our foot. That's why our feet are almost pigeon-toed, okay? That way if someone scrapes and stomps, it'll blade off of our calf muscle and hit the ground and not hit our foot. Those are the horse training and horse meditation stance. Next stance I'd like to cover is our neutral bow stance, which is our primary fighting stance. It is the source for all of our balance, our mobility. It allows us to generate power through torque, backup mass, and it gets us in and out of the action fast. And most importantly, it's a balance system that allows us to keep our balance no matter what position our body may find itself in during combat. So when we first start doing our neutral bow stance, one quick way to do is I'm going to use the line in the floor as a reference. So I'm going to stand with my feet 50-50 on the line. And this is a way you can practice when you first start. You can use the lines in the floor, put a piece of tape down, but use some sort of positioning on the ground until you get used to doing it naturally, so that you have proper foot placement. Okay, so from our attention stance, I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to slide my right foot back about shoulder length, and I'm going to pivot both my feet 45-degree angle parallel. Okay? So again, attention, bring the right foot back, pivot. I'm going to bend my knees. Now, what you see here, next position, I'm going to bring my hands up. All right, I've got my back hand cocked across my chest, fist up, so that if I were to punch, I would turn my wrist over, adding torque and power. Okay, my other hand is up, guarding my face. I've got the midsection covered with my right hand, my head section covered with my front hand, and if I need to cover the bottom, I got my legs. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3 sections covered. Okay, again, tension. Take our right foot, slide it back, 45-degree angle, bend the knees, hands up. Now, very important that our back stays straight. We don't want to be leaning. We definitely don't want to be leaning forward. We lose our balance. The weight distribution on a neutral bow stance should be 50-50. 50 on the front, 50 on the back. Okay? From this position, we do all of our fighting. Another reason for this stance is in street fighting, we have what's called center line. And all of our primary targets, our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our heart, our xiphoid process, our solar plexus, our groin, are all right along that invisible line that runs down the center of your body. By stepping into our neutral bow stance, we're naturally blading our body, and we're turning those primary targets away from the attacker. Okay, my center line now is facing this way, so I've got a built-in line of protection here. Another thing, with my leg here, I can pinch off a groin attack. If someone were to throw a straight line towards my groin, I can pinch it off with my leg very easily. Okay, so tension, bring our right foot back, 45-degree angle on the feet, hands up. Now, some people ask, how far apart do my feet need to be? One thing to keep in mind with KENPO, KENPO is a street fighting art, so we do not do very wide, deep, low stances like you see in some other traditional arts like Kung Fu and some of the Japanese styles. We're generally, in modern society, if we do have to defend ourselves, it's going to be on blacktop or rock, gravel, so those lower stances don't facilitate themselves to the type of terrain that we're on. So our stances are generally shoulder width apart. We're going to step back, boom. Now, very important, you're going to hear this a lot in our beginners classes. What we want you to have is called toe-heel alignment. If you look on the floor here, my front toe is on this line, my rear heel is on this line. There is a straight line that runs from my toe to my heel in my neutral bow stance. Okay, another way, another quick reference, if you want to check whether your feet are a comfortable distance apart, is from this position, drop your knee down. Okay? Do the hang loose kawaii hand and stick it from your knee to your heel. Okay? If you can touch, that's a comfortable distance. If my heel is way out here, my stance is too wide. If my heel is too close and I can't get a full breath on my fingers, my stance is too narrow. Okay? One of the common mistakes that we see a lot when people are learning their neutral bow is they don't bend their knees. They step back and they have their knees locked straight like this. Okay? This is not a neutral bow. You must have your knees bent. Your weight is going to be on the balls of your feet so that you can move easily. All right. Another reason is if you're straight leg and you get pushed, you're going to lose your balance because when you're on your heels, you're going to rock. So again, balls of your feet, knees bent. You can have the hands up. Hand position varies depending. Okay. Basic position though for beginners is here. This is your basic beginner's neutral bow. 1, 2. And that's the neutral bow stance. You're doing right and left. Thanks. Okay, next we're going to be learning how to do our forward bow stance. Again, stances are the delivery system for everything we do in KENPO, stances and our foot maneuvers. So it's really important that you master the basics, and forward bow stance is a stance that we use repeatedly in KENPO from white belt all the way up through black. So mastering your stances is key to getting all your techniques down and all your footwork down. Okay, so for forward bow, we're going to start out in our neutral bow. Again, we're maintaining toe-heel alignment. All we're going to do now is we're going to shift our hips, pivot our hips forward. Okay? Now, if you notice, what happens is my hips come square. From the side, I bend like that. My back leg is straight. This comes from a bow and arrow stance, they call it. That's what a forward bow. My back leg is straight, my front leg is bent. Little fine point, when I go to pivot into my forward bow, I don't pivot my front foot. My front foot stays right where it is on the diagonal from my neutral bow because it has a better grip from that position. Purposes and uses for this stance would be to punch. It also creates a bracing angle. If I were pushed here, I have a nice deep solid stance here. So again, neutral bow, forward bow. Neutral bow, forward bow. Front, neutral bow, forward bow. Neutral bow, forward bow. Back, and that is forward bow. Next stance for our KENPO basics is the reverse bow. Again, it's basically a forward bow to 6 o'clock. So we're going to start in our neutral bow. And again, we're going to pivot our hips, but this time instead of pivoting towards 12 o'clock, we're going to pivot towards 6 o'clock. So from here, we pivot. And notice my hand positioning. I'm coming down and I'm doing a low check and a high check. Again, here, neutral bow. I have my toe heel alignment. I pivot, reverse the hands. This is a guarding check. From there, 1, 2. From the side, neutral bow, reverse bow. Neutral bow, reverse bow. Okay, weight distribution. On a forward bow, 60% of the weight on the front leg, 40 on the back. On a reverse bow, 40% of the weight on the front leg, 60% on the back. And that is the reverse bow. The next stance we're going to learn is our close kneel. We use a close kneel a lot when we're punching. It's also for generating power. It's a very comfortable stance to be in. We're going to start from our neutral bow. And what we're going to do is we're going to pivot our hips forward, similar manner we do as when we transition into a forward bow, except now we're going to, instead of having our back leg straight, we're going to bend it. So from our neutral bow, we're just going to bend here. Boom, boom. If I were punching, there. From the side, neutral, close kneel. Neutral, close kneel. If I'm punching, boom, punching, boom. Okay? The knee is close in. Okay? The difference, we have a wide kneel that we'll show you in a different video, but this is the close kneel stance, and we use it a lot in KENPO, and it's a stance that if you can master this, your transitions will be a lot faster and your power will be generated, because it really teaches you how to torque. Close kneel. Next stance we're going to learn today is our wide kneel. Okay, similar to the close kneel, except as in the name, the knee is going to be wider. So from our neutral bow, when we transition into the wide kneel, we're going to actually just drop our knees here. Okay, so from the neutral, wide, neutral, wide. Hard stance to stay in for an extended period of time. It simulates a knee drop, boom, which we do a lot in KENPO. I'll do it from the side. Neutral bow, wide kneel. Neutral, wide kneel. One more time from the front. From our neutral bow, we drop into a wide kneel and back. Wide kneel stance. Next stance we're going to do is the twist stance. We have a front and rear twist. I'm going to show them to you together, and we also have a front leg and rear leg transition. So from our neutral bow, we're going to do the front twist. Again, the front twist is great for covering distance. It's in a lot of our techniques, and it also helps us generate torque from a stance into a strike. So from our neutral bow, we're going to do different kinds of front twists. The front leg twist, we're just going to take the front leg, twist it here. Again, boom. One more time, boom. Show it to you from the side, front leg twist. Boom. Again, there. That's the front leg. Okay. Now we're going to do a rear crossover, which is also puts us in a twist. We're going to do, rear leg is going to step over and cross. My knee is actually resting on my calf. I could sit here for a long time comfortably. All right, it's a transition. I can step from here, step out. There's my rear twist. So again, front crossover, boom. Rear crossover, here. We use that for cover outs and creating distance. We use this for closing distance. You can transition into a kick. A lot of uses for that. So that is the front leg twist, the front and rear crossover. Okay, the next stance we're going to teach in our basics is the crane stance. It's a stance we don't use it often, but we use it enough. It's in a lot of our techniques, a lot of our signature techniques, leaping crane, a couple others, and it's good to know. It's also a very aesthetically pleasing stance. It kind of looks cool. You see it a lot in pictures. So it comes from the name crane. It looks like a crane standing on one leg. So if we're standing at attention, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition the weight onto one leg. I'm going to come up, okay, and from here, what I can do is kick. So we have the technique leaping crane, where we're coming in here. There's our crane stance, first position. Boom, and then we do the rest of the technique. So again, that's the crane stance. You can hop out of the way, kick with it. Other side, boom. Hand position is variable. It's always good to have a high and a low check, and it will really depend on the situation and the technique you may be doing. But again, the crane stance, little fine point, if you notice from the side, my knee is bent. It's not straight. We never have straight knees, they're always bent. So again, that's our crane stance. Okay, foot maneuvers, very, very important. This is how we close distance. This is how we create distance. This is what gets us into and out of fighting range, and having good feet. You know, my instructor used to say it's a poor set of feet that gets a body beat. Without footwork, you can't defend yourself. So mastering your foot maneuvers is key to mastering KENPO and any fighting art. Okay, so our basic bread and butter foot stance in KENPO we use is called the step drag, similar to a boxer's shuffle. Okay, we're starting from our neutral bow. Just like the name says, the front foot's going to step. We're going to step forward, drag the back leg. Step, drag, step, drag. Okay, if I'm going backwards, the back leg moves. Step, drag, step, drag. Forward, step, drag, step, drag. Going from the side, from my neutral bow. Going forward, step, drag, step, drag, going back. Now what I'm not doing, and it's a common mistake I see a lot, particularly with new students, when you say drag, they kind of do what we call the zombie shuffle, okay? They step and they drag their foot, and it's like this. My knees, you notice my knees always maintain a bent position, feet are parallel. I'm still in my neutral bow, and I'm stepping. Knees still bent, still have 50-50 weight distribution. That's the step drag, front and back. The next stance I want to show you is the horizontal step drag, moving, it'll give us lateral motion to the right and the left. Very similar to the front and rear step drag, only difference is direction. If I want to go to my right, I'm going to use my right leg, and I'm going to step, drag, step, drag. If I want to go to my left, I'm going to move my left leg. Step, drag, step, drag. So again, right foot moves. Left foot moves. That'll give us lateral motion rather than just going front and back. We call that being on a train track. When you're sparring, two trains going in the same direction, you're just going to collide. If one can come forward and the other can move, it's a great way to learn how to avoid being hit. So lateral motion is key in any martial art. It's something we stress a lot in KENPO, and it's good to know the step drag front, back, and sideways. That's the lateral step drags. Next foot maneuver we're going to cover is the step through. Again, it's a way to cover distance, close distance, and create distance. From our neutral bow, our back leg is going to step up, slide out, step up, slide out. If I'm going backwards, a rear step through, step in and out, step in and out. Now what I'm doing with my feet, if you notice, I'm pinching off my groin. As my back leg's in, I'm doing what we call a C-step. So my back leg is coming in and I'm pinching off the groin here. If a kick were to come in, it would deflect my knee. And I'm stepping out, pinch off the groin, step out, boom. My feet are kind of going in a C pattern. Another thing is we're not hopping. A lot of people, when they first start doing these stances, they'll kind of go like this. Okay, it's a slide. There's tactical reasons for the slide. Okay, I'm sliding my foot up and out. Not really a factor on a mat, but out there on the street, if you're defending yourself on gravel, on pavement, there's trash, debris, bottles, rocks, whatever. If you slide your foot, you'll be able to kick debris out of the way. If you just step blindly and you step on a rock or something, roll your ankle, you're starting off the engagement, the encounter, the attack with an injury that you just inflicted on yourself. So again, that slide footwork we do in all of our foot maneuvers is a defensive, strategic, tactical reason for it. So again, that is our step through, and that is the next foot maneuver. The next foot maneuver we're going to cover for our basics KENPO is the push drag. Looks very similar to the step drag. Only difference is on the step drag, our front foot, if we want to go forward, is stepping and we're sliding the back foot. If we're going back, our back foot is stepping and we're sliding the front foot. On a push drag, if I want to go forward, I'm actually pushing off the back leg. So I'm going to push, push. Go sideways, push. Okay, some people, they'll do that kick and they'll push into a kick, so they'll push into a kick as they come in. That's an offensive application of it. But the difference between the push drag and the step drag, again, is a step drag. You're stepping and sliding. On the push drag, you're actually pushing off into your stance. That's the push drag. Next foot maneuver we're going to cover in our basics program is the cover step. Cover step is a way to change direction 180 degrees with one movement actually. So from our neutral bow, I can see full line of sight 180 degrees from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. But if I'm attacked from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock on the back range, I can't see. So a way to cover and switch direction very easily on a cover step, I'm going to take my front foot and I'm going to step across. Now you notice when I'm in a proper neutral bow, I've got toe-heel alignment. My toe is in line with my heel. When I step across, the distance you want to step is step across so that your heel is in line with your toe. Right from there, you're going to pivot from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And what happens is now I maintain toe-heel alignment and I'm facing 6 o'clock. So again, I've got a 180 degree direction change just by taking one step. Cover again. Cover again. Cover step, it's always the front foot that moves. So if I want to do a cover step, my front foot steps and I pivot. Now I want to do another cover, my front foot, which would have been my back in the first stance, is now the rear, is now the front because I switched direction. That is the cover step. The next foot maneuver we want to cover is called the cover out. Cover out, you'll see that we do this in KENPO at the end of all our techniques, and what we're doing on a cover out is we're creating distance. This would happen at the end of a technique. Usually, based on the way our techniques are designed, the attacker is going to end up either being pushed away or knocked to the ground. We don't want to stand there and admire our work. We need to get out of there. Okay, so we need to create distance so that they don't re-engage us. So if I knock my opponent to the ground and he's laying there, I need to get away, create distance. But I also need to worry about whether there's other attackers, whether there's his friends coming up behind me. So the cover out is going to help us get a 360 degree view as we're getting away. So this is how it works. We're going to, let's just imagine that the attacker is down. We finished our technique. He's on the ground. I need to get away. I need to create distance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rear front leg crossover. Then I'm going to do a step out. Then I'm going to do a step through. One more time. I'll show you the footwork. For our neutral bow, we do a rear twist crossover, step out, step through. I'll do it on the other side. Step out, step through. That's the footwork. But we need to engage the eyes. So, my opponent is down. I've got a 180 degree view here. I'm going to step here. Now I'm looking. Okay, now I've got a 180 degree view here. I'm going to step out. Now I've got a 180 degree here and cover. Now I've got 360 degrees of vision I've covered. So it's important when you're doing this to be looking. You want to step and look. That'll give you 360 degree vision. If there is another attacker, multiple attackers, you'll be able to see them before they come, hopefully. That is the cover out.